Okay guys, now it's time to do some practice with our unit rates. So we're gonna do some nutritional info. So let's start with working out. So Zendaya burns 360 calories in her 45-minute workout. So how much did she burn per minute? Okay, we should be setting up our proportion here. So it's 360 calories in 45 minutes. But we want to know the unit rate, how much it was per minute. So we're going to set this up equal to 1 minute. And then remember, you cross multiply and divide. So 360 times 1 is 360. 360 divided by 45. 360 divided by 45, which when you do that math out, gives you 8. So 8 calories per minute. She burned 8 calories per minute. Okay, the next morning Zendaya goes for a 30-minute jog and burns 135 calories. What is the unit rate? Go ahead and set up the proportion and solve that one. Same idea as the last one. All right, so we should have 135 calories in 30 minutes. I want to know what it is for 1 minute. Cross multiply and divide. 135 times 1 is 135. 135 divided by 30. This one doesn't work out quite as nicely, so I'll go ahead and show it. So 30 goes into 135. 0 times into 1, 0 into 13. It goes 4 times into 135 because 4 times 30 is 120. 15 left over. I have to bring that decimal up and bring a 0 down. So 30 goes into 150 5 times. So she burns 4.5 calories per minute. It's okay for it to be a decimal like that. Okay, so here we were finding the unit rate. When we move to burn it, now we're not finding the unit rate, we're actually going to use the unit rate to find other things. So it says, when you exercise, the number of calories you burn depends on 2 things, the type of exercise and your weight. So we're going to complete the table below to find out how many calories this celebrity will burn in 1 minute of exercise. Okay, so I have Zendaya here. She weighs 132 pounds, so we're going to use her weight to help us figure out how many calories per minute she's going to burn playing basketball, soccer, and walking. And if you see there under the word basketball, I have how many calories that someone burns per pound per minute. Okay, same for soccer, same for walking. So we're just going to set this up. They already gave us the unit rate. They told us it was 0.063 calories for 1 pound. But Zendaya doesn't weigh 1 pound. She weighs 132 pounds. Okay, so now we will cross multiply and then divide. So we're doing 0.063 times 132. Good news, you get to use your calculator. So when you type that in, you would get 8.316. So she burns 8.316 calories per pound. Sorry, not per pound. See, it's per minute. Okay, because remember this is how many were burned per minute for every 1 minute over there. Okay, that is for when she plays basketball, but let's look at some other activities. So for soccer, it is 0.076 calories for 1 pound. Again, she doesn't weigh 1 pound, she weighs 132 pounds. Remember, when we set up our proportions, we have to keep the units the same, so calories are on top, pounds are on bottom for both sides. Now I can cross multiply and then divide. Notice I'm dividing by 1. I kind of forgot to tell you that part on the last one, but remember when you divide by 1, it's just the same. So that's why I didn't actually do that division step. You're welcome to type it in your calculator, but it should give you the same number. So we're doing 0.076 times 132. Go ahead and use your calculator and find what that is. When I type that in on mine, I get 10.032. So she burns 10.032 calories per minute. Okay, since we're using her weight, we're figuring out how much she burns every minute of exercise. Okay, now let's go ahead and do our last one, walking. So let's set it up. Set up your unit rate. Go ahead and do that, which should look like 0.019 calories over 1 pound. On the other side, again, think how many pounds is Zendaya? She's 132 pounds. I'm going to set that up on bottom. Go ahead and cross multiply and divide for that one. So 0.019 times 132. Okay, when I use my calculator for that, I get 2.508. 2.508 calories per minute. Okay, so you can kind of see here, if she did 5 minutes of soccer, she'd burn off about 50 calories, things like that. So you can kind of see how it differs based on the person's original weight, how many calories they're going to burn. If you're a larger person, you're going to burn more calories because you have a bigger body that you're moving, right? So you can kind of see how this would differ for different people, which is pretty cool. So let's go ahead to supersize, because a lot of times when you're burning calories, you're burning off that food you ate, right? So let's see kind of how long it would take someone to burn off some food. So different types of exercise burn different numbers of calories. Let's use Zendaya's weight and the exercises that I listed for each activity. How long would it take to burn off the McDonald's items listed below? And we're going to round to the nearest hundredth this time. I know on the last slide we left it because we wanted to be really precise. Here we're still going to be nice and precise, but these are going to be really ugly decimals. So let's go ahead and round it to the nearest hundredth for each of these. So it looks like we're eating a Big Mac and having a large Coke. And we are seeing for Zendaya how long it would take her to burn off the Big Mac and the large Coke if she was swimming and if she was bowling. So this is kind of like 2 steps we have to do. First thing I have to do is we have to find how much she's going to burn every minute. Just like we did on the last slide for the burn it slide, we're going to do the same thing here because these are 2 new exercises. So for swimming and for bowling, we're going to find those out first. So let's start with swimming. So for swimming, it is 0.064 calories for 1 pound. Again, she is 132 pounds. We will cross multiply and divide. So 0.064 times 132. And when I multiply that, and remember I get to use my calculator, it gives me 8.448. I do not want to round yet. Okay, I know it's like a little exciting. We get to round, yay. And we get to use calculators, but right now let's keep this as precise as we can. We're not going to round to the nearest hundredth until the very last step. So since this is a 2-stepper, it's going to be on this next step that we'll round. So now let's think about it. We have 550 calories we're trying to burn because we ate that Big Mac. Okay, this is how much we're burning every 1 minute. So how are we going to figure out how many minutes it takes us? Well, we're going to have to divide. So we're going to take the 550 divided by the 8.448. And this is where you really want to use that calculator. Go ahead and type that in. 550 divided by 8.448. And when I divide that, I get 65.104. And so on. It keeps going. But remember, we get to round it to the nearest hundredth. That's why I stopped. So I'm rounding to the hundredth place. That 4 tells it to stay. So I'm really getting 65.10. And yes, I do need to put that 0. So for my Big Mac, it takes 65.10 minutes. It takes over an hour if she's swimming, over an hour of swimming for her to burn off that Big Mac. Okay, I'm just going to erase this bottom part because we're still using that 8.448. except now we're doing the large Coke. So it's 310 calories divided by the 8.448. Go ahead and put that in your calculator. And when you do, I got 36.695. Again, I'm rounding to the 100th. That's why I'm cutting that off. Rounding here, this 5 tells my 9 to go up. So this turns into 36.70. So it takes 36.70 minutes. So more than half an hour for her to burn off that large Coke. Now I want to do the exact same thing for bowling. So step 1, find how many calories she burns per minute using the bowling numbers, and then figure out how much it's going to take her, or how long it's going to take her to burn off the Big Mac and the large Coke. Pause and go ahead and do that. All right, I am gonna do that with you. So here we go. First thing I needed to do was set up 0.023 calories for 1 pound, but she's 132 pounds. Gonna cross multiply and then divide. So 0.023 times 132. Use my calculator and I get 3.036. Now I'm going to use that number to figure out how long it takes to burn off the Big Mac and how long it takes to burn off the large Coke. So for my Big Mac, 550 divided by that 3.036. Again, use my calculator, and when I do that, I get 181.159. Again, I'm rounding, so that's why I'm cutting this off. Rounding to my hundredths place. So that 9 tells it to go up, so I get 181.16. So 181.16 minutes. Look at that, more than 3 hours to burn off that Big Mac if you're just bowling. Yikes. Okay, do the same thing real quick for my large Coke. It was 310 pounds divided by 3.036. When I divide that on my calculator, I get 102.108, which will round up again. So 102.11 minutes to burn off that large Coke. And that's it for our practice here together, guys. But basically, I did the exact same thing down below with some different celebrities. So you're gonna go back and do this from here on out. So if you go to slide 6, it says working out. Guess what? It's the same things we did here on the working out slide 2. It's just here on slide 6, there's some more for you to do with some different celebrities. Okay. And I want you to go ahead and do all that. There's also a little extra part at the end, a holiday burn. You can kind of check that out, but it's the same idea as what we did here on Supersize. So you go ahead and do it. Thanks, guys.